We're at the Worthington Diamond Recovery Plant today, and our topic of discussion today is pumps. Your water pumps. Pumps are really just like a fan, but instead of moving air, they move water. I want to talk about these pumps and what I've encountered and learned, and it might help you in the future too. Oh, before we get started, I want to show you my shirt. I found this at Kanoha Indian Village, and I thought, oh, I gotta have it because that's the same picture that was on the front cover of my first book. This is the first edition. It came out a little over 20 years ago. It was April of 2003 that this book was published. And then I later rewrote it and had it reprinted, and that's what the cover looks like now. If you ever see a shirt like this in a store, let me know. I want to buy it too. But anyhow, to move on from there, let's talk about water pumps. So here at the Diamond Recovery Plant, we have 6 pumps that we use: 2 supply water pond pumps and 1 return water pump, and then 2 pumps that operate the spray bar and put water in this scrubber, this giant scrubber behind me. So we got water moving around everywhere. Now the beautiful thing about diamond recovery is you don't ever use anything dangerous like cyanide or mercury like they sometimes do in gold recovery. The only thing you need in diamond recovery is water. And I'm so cheap, I don't even use city water. I fixed 2 ponds, and I have ditches that funnel rainwater into those ponds, and so we just use rainwater. And right now they're both full and overflowing, but that's this time of year. And this is mid-December, and we're really not running the plant right now. Good thing, or you wouldn't be able to hear me. This thing's noisy. It's kind of like tennis shoes rolling around in a dryer or something, with the rocks rolling around in the big scrubber trommel. But we got plenty of water right now, and so the way a pump works, these are stainless steel. When I first got started, I thought, okay, I need 6 pumps and a 7th one for a backup. So I bought a whole bunch of these stainless steel pumps. I thought, ooh, stainless steel, that's better than plastic. You know, let's go with top of the line stainless steel. And I spent some money and got all matching pumps and everything, and got to using them. And after a while, these are called a dirty water pump. So it doesn't just pump water, it'll pump muddy water, which sometimes, by the time I wash a bunch of dirt with it and then I recycle that water, it gets kind of dirty. So anyhow, I thought this was a perfect pump for what I need. And then I'd run for a while, and then a pump would quit. And I thought, what is going on with that? And I'd check, and the pump had a short in it somewhere inside. So pull that pump out, put a new one in, and get to rolling again. You always want at least 2 spare pumps so that you're not shut down waiting for UPS to bring you another pump. So I always keep spares on hand. So I bought a lot of these pumps, and these 4 you're looking at are all bad, and they're going to the trash. They have served well for a while, but turns out these are made in China. Sorry, but I've learned, and especially with the rock crusher I bought, don't buy stuff made in China if you can help it. But anyway, stainless steel, I thought, ooh, this will be great, top quality stuff. And they work for a while, and then they'll short out or something. I had a unique problem one time after this. We have the Diamond Recovery Plant under trees for the shade, because in the summertime it gets hot working here, and a little shade goes a long way in keeping you a little bit cooler. Well, some of the trees are pine trees. Well, pine trees shed pine cones, and the pine cones get into the return water pond, and then they get waterlogged, and they kind of sink instead of floating on the top like a good pine cone should. And my pumps are submerged in the water. The way they work, when they're underwater, then this goes up, this float goes up, and it turns the pump on. So basically, I've always got all my pumps underwater with the float up, and the way I turn them on is I just plug them in. That's how that works. But I was going along and all of a sudden I didn't have water to a pump. Oh no, another one shorted out. And I went and I messed with it and I pulled it up. I thought maybe it was stuck in the mud, you know, because they tend to pull mud toward the pump when they're pulling water towards the pump. It wasn't in the mud. Everything looked fine. Put it back in. It worked great for a few minutes and then it plugged up again. Finally, I pulled it out and got to looking really close. See, the water comes in down here and it goes up a little hole in the middle. Well, it had sucked a pine cone inside that. I mean, it was perfect fit. And then it went up and stuck right in the hole in the bottom. It was just right to be wrong. So by the time I figured out the pine cone was my problem, it had already burned up the pump. So anyhow, replaced the pump, put a new one in, ran for a while, and I swear it sucked another pine cone up in there, 3 in a row. But it didn't ruin a pump every time because I got onto, you know, figuring out what the deal was. But here's how pumps work. I took the screws out of this one, so that just comes off. This is just a housing, and the water is sucked in here, and it all comes up through this little thing, and that's where the pine cone was, up underneath, and it had wedged in there just beautifully to plug it off. My luck. Anyway, so it sucks the water in up through that hole and it pushes that out through there. And the way it pushes it, it has this like rotating fan. If I can get it to rotate, this one's locked up. Well, here we go. Anyway, that fan blade spins, and as that spins, it moves water. Just like a fan moves air, this pump moves water. And that's all there is to a pump. It spins the water so fast that's in there, it throws it into this pipe, and it will lift it, you know, 20 feet in the air and dump the water down, because I've got to have water way up high here. So pumps are amazing. Pumps are wonderful. Pumps can be frustrating. So what I have figured out is I'm not buying any more of these stainless steel Chinese pumps. I went with plastic. It's actually less money, and they work great. I haven't had any problem with them at all. And right now I've got a pump in the supply water that I have to replace because it keeps kicking the GFI, the ground fault interrupter, the like circuit breaker that keeps things from messing up, from getting too hot. So I've got one kicking the GFI, and I imagine it's shorted out in here, so I'll replace it. I'll put a new pump in, and then I've got another pump for a spare, for a backup. You always want to have a backup. So these aren't my first 4 I've thrown away. I've thrown away probably 5, 6, 7 others in the past. I lost track. One thing I did is they'd quit working, and I'd complain to Walmart.com, and they said, we'll just send you a replacement. And I said, oh, that's okay. Do you want the other? No, we don't want that junk. So I think they knew they were having a problem with these Chinese pumps. But anyway, I did get some of the replacements free, but then I bought a bunch of them too. What can I tell you? Oh, before I just throw them in the trash, I might take them apart. There's some more screws here. I might just take it apart and see about getting like magnets out of there or something, because the way a fan or a pump or any motor works, it's got a copper electrical coil, copper wire coiled up around a magnet, and when you put electricity to that magnet, it spins. So I might take it apart and get the magnets. I don't know. I've been fascinated by magnets ever since I was a kid. I don't know if it's really worth taking it apart and messing with it. I mean, you can buy magnets, and I have. In fact, I like rare earth magnets. They're really strong magnets, and you can even use them, I've learned from other people. I'm always still learning. Although I'm the guy who wrote the book on diamonds in Arkansas, I'm still learning some things. If you get the rare earth magnets, and you're looking through your heavies, your concentrate, you can take that rare earth magnet and run it over it, and pyrope garnet will the magnet, the rare earth magnet will pick up pyrope garnet. A regular magnet won't, but the strong rare earth magnets will. And also your black, shiny, lustrous chromium spinel, the rare earth magnets will pick up them too. So they're not magnetic, but they respond to a magnet. And then also at the Crater of Diamonds, they have magnetite there. So if you took magnet out there, you can catch magnetite. They're small, but they're pretty, kind of neat. My wife found a real pretty octahedral magnetite, which octahedron is two four-sided pyramids joined base to base. And she found this really neat octahedral magnetite in situ, in the matrix. And anyway, it's a cool find. I was surface searching with her and she finds the good stuff. But anyhow, that's all right. I latched onto it, so it doesn't matter who carries it. Oh, I was going to cut the cord off and I put my tools away, get them off the table. But anyhow, these come with a really long cord, which is great because I end up putting these way out in the pond and then I want to plug them in. Well, I don't want my plug in the water. That's not going to work. It'll kick the GFI every time. So these come with really long cords, which is great. And before I trash these, or I may even reclaim the metal, you got to figure if it's worth the gasoline driving to the reclaim, but it probably won't be. But if I get a big pile of metal, but I will snip this off and keep these cords. And why? Oh, I don't know. I might end up putting a receptacle on it, and then you've got a little extension cord. I don't know. It's just me. My dad always cut the pigtail off before he threw something away like that, and I'll probably do that too. Anyway, that's a little lesson about pumps. Beware of the pine cones, and don't buy Chinese. And plastic is actually better than stainless steel. Who would have thought? But, happy water pumping to you, and thanks for joining me for this edition of Genuine Diamonds in Arkansas.